Good afternoon, guys. It is March 5th, 2017, 1:33 in the afternoon here on the East Coast. So I'm going to do today's talk on mistakes. I think they're crucial as a part of the learning process, and sometimes you have to make them in order to figure stuff out at times or to get ahead. I believe I've made a ton of mistakes in my life, both when it comes to family, friends, work. I mean, mistakes in all aspects. School. There's a ton of mistakes in a ton of different areas that I'm sure I've made in my life. But learning from those mistakes is what gives me the opportunity to keep moving forward. I never let the mistakes um, define me or be the last thing that I did. I always try and correct my mistakes if I can, if I'm able to. Um, so there's a lot of things that go along with this. I've made a lot of mistakes growing up, not making the best decisions, and looking back on it, I wonder sometimes. And I talked to my wife about this previously, not any time recently, but how we escaped that adolescence, the teenage years of our lives, and even into, you know, 18, 19, and into your 20s, without getting into any sort of serious trouble, and without, escaping with our lives, so to speak, because there was a lot of mistakes that we made and doing things, looking back on them, reflecting that weren't the healthiest, weren't the best decisions. And in the moment, it may seem like a good decision, but a rule of thumb that I try to live by is if it takes me more than a couple seconds to think about it, it's probably not the right thing to do. And that's something that I learned in the military. If it ends up you end up having to think about it for quite some time, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And 9 times out of 10, we know what the right thing to do is sometimes when it comes to simple mistakes or honest mistakes. Um, but sometimes we'll end up making the decision to live on the edge, impress your friends, or who knows? There's a myriad of reasons as to why we make mistakes. But you can't let those mistakes be the last attempt that you had at it. You always have to move forward from mistakes and use them as a learning curve. That's what I've been doing recently, trying to use my mistakes to identify my weaknesses and then build from there. I think that's a good tool to identify your weakness. If you're not doing good, let's say I did bad on an exam in college, a mistake was probably not studying hard enough, and maybe thinking I was overconfident in the material. Um, so then you have to put forth a new effort and continue on trying to improve so you don't have a repeat mistake, especially if it's been brought to your attention. You shouldn't have a repeat mistake unless you intentionally do the same thing expecting, a different outcome. That's not healthy either. So, but there's a lot of mistakes that I've made in my life, when it's come to relationships and when it's come to a lot of different aspects of my life. But I never try to let them be I always try to spin it into a positive way or find out the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the mistake that I made. Even if it's innocent and I didn't think that, intentionally do it and it was a mistake, you got to figure out why, maybe why you felt like that and different things that go along with that in order to, adjust and readjust so you don't make obviously the same mistakes. Um, and then there's a lot that goes along and a lot that you can learn from the mistakes you made. And it's so much easier to talk about them after you've made them and to guide people in the right directions after the mistakes that you've made. And you try to give people a heads up as to what worked for you, what didn't work for you. And that's part of the mentoring as well. You have to see, sometimes mistakes can also be great mistakes. Um, And I'll give you a simple, but I hear all the time about how, the couples having kids and the kid wasn't planned, but it was the greatest thing that could have possibly happened to them. And I'm not calling the kid a mistake, but it was something that, I've heard parents reference it that way. And not that I would say that the kid is a mistake, but it was something good that came out of it, something that they weren't planning for. Obviously, they know the end result could be possible, but it's just not something they were thinking of at that point in time. And the kid ended up being the best blessing in their lives, and they were able to move forward from that and start a completely different future that was set aside from the future that they had previously thought. So sometimes mistakes can be just as good as they are bad. So it's all in context and all in how you look at it. And if you need to adjust to make the adjustment, then you keep moving forward from there. So that'll be it for today's vlog. I was kind of struggling with a topic to come up with today, and asking my wife for a topic. She told me to do it on family, but I had done one previously on that. So I was thinking about the common occurrence that I see with people and mistakes, and the mistakes that I've made along the way, and how they've kind of been character building mistakes that allowed me to become the person I am today in a good way, not the negative type of mistakes that I let define me, and now I go into some sort of panic mode because of it. I always try to use them to my benefit, and if I can't see the benefit initially, I'll try and reflect back on it in some time, and some weeks later, or months later, or even years later, to see, maybe if it was a good mistake, maybe if it changed my path from doing something wrong to doing it right. And that'll be it for today's vlog. And I appreciate you guys watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. I was fortunate enough to get a day off today from work when I typically work Sundays, so I'm really excited about spending some time with my wife today, and being able to go do some stuff while, unfortunately, our daughter's still out of town, and I really do miss her, but I'm going to try to use that time to, obviously have a good time with my wife. So again, I appreciate you guys watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. I'm up to 36 subscribers, and I'm really excited for that. Still have a goal of 50 by the end of the month, so that's another 14, and I think I can absolutely do that. And I think I actually got some events coming up this month where I'd be able to speak in front of different people, so I'm still looking forward to that, and I'll be sure to post those as my daily vlog for that day. As soon as those events happen, and you guys will be the first to know. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you on the next one.